One. Good morning. How are you doing, lovely people, on this chilly November day? This is your Yoga Solutions Live. I'm Marc J Acquaviva yes, this is, it's the 5th of November. Happy Guy Fawkes Day. So, yes, I hope you're having a lovely time wherever you are. And yes, let's get on with it. So let's see what I've got some questions here, or I've got a question at least. Yes, today I have a question from Barbara, who's on the course up in Scotland. She travels from Ireland, so thank you for doing that, Barbara. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weekends' time. So the question is, anything with arm and hand support or arm and hand support or placing for support, Cobra, back bend, or anything in between these things. Okay, yes. So anything for arm and hand support. Okay, so the question makes me think that it's basically there might be a feeling of you don't feel supported enough. If you're asking for arm and hand support, yes. So, why would that be? And usually people say this to me a lot. They say, I haven't got enough strength in my arms, or I haven't got enough, this and such part of me is weak. And what they actually mean is they have a go at something like Cobra, like back bend, like whatever. And the experience is that they don't feel strong enough to support themselves. So you get the idea that the arms are weak. The weakness is not necessarily muscular. If you can move your arms, then you probably have the strength that you need. But what we do need to do is find confluent ways of using the arms so that the muscles around the joints are not given an inappropriate amount of work to do in bracing against your efforts to support yourself, if that makes any sense. I'll give you an example. There's two things that tend to happen, or I'll give you a slightly broader view. There's two things that tend to happen when people are expecting to take weight through their hands. And one thing that happens is they are used to pushing the ground away, so they lock the elbows, which sort of makes for strong arm as a whole, because you can push through the elbow, you can push against the elbow and push through the elbow. It's not very nice for the elbow joint, and it's not very nice for the wrist joint. But then you have, because of the way you've arrived, you've sort of disabled the use of your hands by cutting off at the wrists. You're pushing against the wrist, and the result will be you can't use your hands for support really without, I don't know, especially you can grip a bit. So the outcome will feel like you need more strength to pick your weight up. So that's one reason for feeling why you might feel not strong enough to support yourself. So it's a sort of a disharmonious way of using your limbs. The other problem is if people are sensibly not locking the elbow, but they expect to not feel supported, then what they actually do is they put the weight against the elbow. And then they feel weak because they haven't got the strength, the tricep strength, to sort of pull the arm straight into a press-up. What's actually happening is the weight is not going down through the hands, it's going against the elbow. So then you're relying on these muscles to support your weight. Another reason for feeling weak. The solution is in natural function. And what do I mean by that? Yes. What I mean is when you naturally use this is your arm. The forearm is your official arm, as far as I'm concerned. That's the thing that you use to articulate the hands. Okay. When something very old that goes on in yoga is people use the whole arm to reach out for something, to make a shape, and that's not really functional. You're not really using your arm as an arm. You're making a shape. And if you try and support yourself like that, yes, it's complicated. But if you understand that this is your arm, the forearm, that's the thing you interact with the world through, the arm and the hand, then the arm's role in terms of support is to do that. And if you keep that going to the point of touch, then what you end up with is a movement that starts on the front of the hand and moves back to the heel of the hand. So you get a sort of a dragging sensation of support. And when you engage with that, action, you're using your arms to be involved with touch, as opposed to leaning against your wrist, for example. So the forearm being involved with touch is an away from you feeling, and then a sort of dragging back from the front of the hand to the heel of the hand. And that should elicit a core response, which means that you feel supported in the front of the body. So you get a sense of the use of the arm, involving the arm in touch, gives you support in the front of the body. And it doesn't matter what orientation you're in. So if I was here, for example, same thing. If I want to use my arms, it's that action of sort of back from the front of the hand to the back of the hand is the thing that involves the arm doing the touch, and it gives me a sense of core support in my ribs, my belly. And then the hand itself touches the ground very similarly, in the way that a foot touches the ground when you walk. You start with the heel, then the little toe edge, and then the ball of the foot, and that's the thing. That arrangement is what propels you in space. So the hand itself does something very similar. So once the arm has put the hand down, then the use of the hand is to the heel of the hand, and that's where you can sort of give your weight, so you feel supported. And so you can see I'm not having to push the ground away, because basically I'm leaning my weight through the bone to where the touch is. That's how you would use the heel of the foot. Then the outer edge needs to engage to support you, and that starts to give you the possibility of being supported back from your touch through the shoulders. And then finally the thumb side of things goes down. So the result is I feel supported. The arm doing the touch is part one. That's you engaging with the earth. The use of the hand is what supports back from that touch, up through your shoulders, up through your chest. So the heel of the hand going down is what allows the arm bone to settle back into the shoulder so that the spine can rest through. The blade of the hand going down the outer edge is sort of what invites the spine to drop through, and then the pad of the thumb going down invites the chest to feel supported away from that. So you end up supported by your hand. So it feels like it's two different directions. There's the back from the touch, and then there's to the touch, or there's to the touch, and then there's back from the touch. And this is all stuff to do with my sort of haptic intelligence course, I suppose. I haven't really gone into this specifically yet, but yes, if you can find these relationships that basically support you, then you end up not having to push the ground away with the elbows, or hold yourself up with the elbows, or push the ground away against your wrists. You end up with a quality of touch, sort of back from the hands towards the hands, back from the hands towards the hands, back from the hands towards the hands, that allows you to feel supported. And the good thing about working with relationships is that it's not one particular posture that you have that relationship within. It's a relationship to touch. So if, for example, we tried it in Cobra, okay? So have we got a good enough view? Yes. So support from the hands in Cobra. First of all, you're going to want the upper spine to drop. So lifting with your back is going to get in the way of any real use of the hands, because if you lift with your back, then pushing with your hands will concertina you at the back, and that's not what you want. What you want is for the rounded part of the spine to drop through to support with the release of the breath, so that extension can naturally happen from a heart opening experience, okay, from the upper spine. And then when you've got that, you can connect that action to the use of the hands. So it's the spine dropping through the hands that gives you the support, and it's the sweep of the arms back from that also gives you the support. So just to set that up one more time. The thing that's going to get the spine to respond, because there's no point using your arms to push dead weight away, because that would make you feel very weak. You want the spine to drop through, and that's, in this case, actually where the weight is on my ribs. So that's the place to connect to in terms of support. And if I can breathe from that support, I will feel supported away from the ground. If I can release the breath to that support, it becomes possible to drop the spine, the thoracic spine, so that the two ends of the spine become light. Okay, so in other words, I drop into extension. And then the touch part, well, the forearms want to move away from me to support me, and that action should take hold of the body, in fact the whole of the ribs, and help me sort of feel supported in the chest. So it's sort of the hands start to do some of the job that the ground is currently doing. And when I've got that action going on in my forearms, which is sort of back from the fingers, then one of the things you might notice is, instead of my shoulders pulling down, which is me pulling myself up, what happens is the forearms being sent towards my knees supports me up away from that. So my shoulders come up and I follow the shoulders. I'm sent forwards by that. And that's the forearms work. Okay? And then that helps the ribs feel supported away from the ground. It helps the chest get involved. And then with that support going on, I can breathe, supported. And when I release the breath, there's the possibility of the spine itself dropping, not so much through the ribs or through the ribs, but also through the heels of the hand. And that feeling of dropping the spine to the heels of the hand allows me to move as a whole person. If I want a bit more support from my hands, I put the hands down from that. So heel of the hand, little finger side, pat of the thumb. So support from the forearms, forwards, sending me forwards. And then the heel of the hand as I release the breath. And then the rest of the hand goes down. So there's a feeling of dragging myself forwards from the forearms. And there's a feeling of resting the spine through to the touch of the heels of the hand and the knees, by the way. Through to that touch. And then the use of the hand, the putting down of the hand, is the thing that allows me to rest into openness. Okay. Yeah. I could one more situation, I suppose. When people can't see their limbs, they get confused. So this situation, you might understand how to do dog pose. You might understand how to do cobra. You might understand how the arms work there. But the moment you put effort into bending the arm and placing it on the ground behind you, it stops being a functional limb. It's just this thing that you have to push against. And therein lies the clue. It's like if you want to feel supported, you don't sort of retract your wrists to push against your hands, because that disables the whole thing. If your wrist bends, it's because you move in that direction with the forearm. The fingers on the ground, and the forearm moves away from you, and that causes the wrist to bend. So you're not putting effort into bending the wrist. The wrist is bent because you are starting to support yourself, which is a movement back from the fingers. And then when you've got that feeling, the result is it's not the chest, it's not the shoulder pulls down, the chest and the ribs anchor down away from the touch. So you're using your forearm to support yourself. And the result with the release of the breath is the chest tends to move away from that action. Now, if you can do that with the fingertips on the ground, it's not different. The thing that will go wrong with that is actively bending your elbows. The same thing. If you want to have a functional arm, you don't put effort into folding it. You don't need to. What you need is the space to be able to touch the ground first. And then with the fingertips on the ground, you might be able to use the forearm appropriately to find some support away from your touch, back from your touch. And that's the back from the fingers feeling. It will eventually get the heel of the hand down, and then with the heel of the hand down, you can relate to it directly from the spine. So it's the spine behind the heart, the rounded parts of the spine. It's the same deal. It's as if you're doing cobra, as if you use your arm appropriately, those ribs are supported back from space, and that becomes a surface for the upper spine to communicate through as you arrive on the heel of the hand. And then the rest of the hand gets involved with movement and support. Okay? So whether you did back bend or not, or whether you just explored the relationships, that should make you feel more integrated in your arms and shoulders. And essentially, if you get a good relationship between how you touch the ground or how you relate to space through your limbs and the middle of your being, then there'll be less conflict. And one of the conflicts is trying to carry your weight, trying to push your weight around with your limbs. You don't need to do that. If you're supported, you can get to a place where you release your weight into your touch, and you are supported because you found the confluent relationships between all things in between. Okay, so I hope that was useful. So, Yes. What to say? I'm getting really quite busy with the online stuff. Stuff I've got coming up this Sunday, the 10th of November in January. It's the third one. It's the moving from the core, I think, or the heart, or something like that. I can't remember the title exactly, but it's I'll check it before I do it. But it's the fourth of the Yoga Solutions series in Brighton. That's Sunday at Unit 4, and then is it next week? Yes, the week after, the following week on Wednesday the 13th, I'll be in London Bridge doing a series of one-to-ones with people. So I've limited spots to book. If you are anywhere near London Bridge and you want to work with me directly on something, come up with a solution for whatever it is, I'm quite adept at helping you with joint problems, knee problems, hip problems, shoulder problems, neck problems, sciatica, anything you've got going on, really. You don't have to have a problem to come and work with me. If you just want to find some depth in your practice, or if you want to break through something, then get to the other side of some complicated posture that you can't fathom or don't enjoy or whatever, come along. And you can book direct on the website for that. The schedules of available spots will be there when you click on the button. What else? Yes, following Saturday, 16th, I will be doing the third Yoga Solutions workshop in Glasgow. Then Friday the 22nd, I'm in Midhurst near Guildford. Saturday the 23rd, I'm in Angmering. And if you want a one-to-one in Hove, you can always come and visit me in Hove, or I can work with you online, and it's working exceptionally well. I've included some one-to-ones on my Haptic Intelligence course for dedicated teachers and practitioners, and I'm surprised that, because some of these people haven't worked with me for very long at all, but the online one-to-ones are working extremely well, and as is the course. Which brings me on to the next course I'm thinking of doing. I had a download, and I got the full body map integration series. Basically, it's a very involved course, 12 weeks, and I'm thinking I might need to do one other course before it. I'm not sure. People leapt on the idea because the idea of mapping out every confluent relationship between all major structures of the body is obviously very appealing. But my thinking is, the first course, the Haptic Intelligence course, is about how we can influence our experience of support and other things directly with the intelligence of our own haptic feedback, the contact we make. I think possibly before I go on to the full body map integration series, I might need to do a series, probably just a 6-week course on proprioceptivity. That sense of where we are in space, and it's a real part of your nervous system. And there are parts of your brain, apparently, that they've only recently discovered actually maps out the space around you to some degree. And I've been working with this for decades. And so proprioceptive patterns, and moreover, how our relationship to these things can change the spaces within. And because I think this is probably a priority before we get into the patterns of body map integration patterns, because without the potential to change the internal spaces, we're not able to reorganize things in a way that leads to the outcome that we're looking for. So I think I'm going to go for a 6-week course, 6 or 7. That's probably an intro workshop on proprioceptive patterns and the spaces within. So if that's of interest, I'll canvass the people that showed interest in the body map integration series and see if they want to do that. But if that's of interest to you, then drop me a personal message, because I like to do these things personally before I put it out there to the broader public for on offer. But yes, the way I'm doing these things is I make it a bit cheaper to buy it up front, as in, if you want to be part of the pioneering group that actually helped me record the thing in the first place, then you get it cheaper than actually when it's edited and finished, because that takes a bit more work. And when it's edited and finished, then you can run it in at your own pace, at your own time, and you also get one-to-ones with it. But yes, the price goes up. So yes, the price goes up. I think it's appropriately. So by being part of it, you're helping me make the thing, which is why I give you a bit of a discount. So if you're interested in proprioceptive patterns and the spaces within the body, then drop me a line and let me know, and I'll put you on the list. I'd probably start that. I might do an intro workshop before Christmas or something for that course, to get people just sort of into the beginning of things before the holidays, and then complete the course in 2020 from the new year onwards. So let me know, and yes, otherwise come along to something. And you can always, if you want an online course that's already recorded, there's a whole series of entry-level ones called Embodied Living, which is about yoga and daily life. I think I've made the Haptic course Intelligence available now for you to do as a catch-up, and that one will come with one-to-ones if you want to sign up for that one. Or if you're interested in the next one, the one about proprioceptivity and inner space, then get in touch. Okay, that'll do. That's enough waffle from me. I hope that was useful. And this is me, Marc J Acquaviva, signing off until the same time, same place next week. Lots of love to you all.